Hi, my name is Amy Richmond, and I'm a candidate for president-elect for IAACE. And Jen, I appreciate your opportunity you've given us to answer these questions and so that people can get to know a little more about us. So let's go ahead and dive right into the questions. This is an easy one for me. What motivates me to stay on the IAACE Board of Directors is that I love it. This is my second year in serving on the board, so I'll be coming off, and I'm not ready to really be done serving with IAACE yet because there are a lot of really important things that we've done. And mainly, I just have my passion for adult education, and it's a great way to stay connected to that passion because we're a group of people from a lot of different backgrounds, all with the same mission. And so that really helps us to stay focused. And I also have that desire to see our strategic plan follow through because we all worked really hard on this board to develop a strategic plan that really focused our initiatives and focused our efforts, and with a really good vision for seeing that through for multiple years. So I would love to be able to be there as one of the people who helped to write that to see that come through. And then the other question is, how can you share or can you share about your background and experience in adult and continuing education? Well, first of all, I've been a lifelong educator, even if it wasn't adult education. That's all I've ever done. So I started out my career doing elementary education. And then after about 3 years, when I had my kids, I moved on to middle school and I taught math for Lyndhurst 7th and 8th grade center in Wayne Township. Did that for a lot of years, about 15, 16 years. And loved it. And one of the things that helped me later on in adult education is that my teaching ranged from mild disabilities all the way up to the accelerated class. So I was seeing a lot of different types of learners like we do in adult education. And then I went on to get my admin license. And by that time, I had picked up teaching adult ed. So I really loved that. So I ended up using that with adult education. And in adult education, I also stayed with Wayne Township, the same district that I taught middle school in. And with adult education, I wore a lot of different hats because I started out teaching HSE, and then I started into ELL transition classes. So lots of different types of learners. Then I did a little bit of life coaching, and that was really helpful because it helped me to learn what resources were out there for students. Then I moved on and I had to do some intake. So that was a whole nother perspective on adult education. And then for leadership, using my admin license, I was career training supervisor. So figuring out about all of those certifications and how to make that work for our program. And then HSE supervisor, working with the teachers and measurable skills gains and those types of things that we all strive for. So I've gotten a lot of experience in adult education. And even though I'm not attached to a program now, I see lots of different programs in what I do now. So I see lots of different perspectives. So I have a lot of adult education background that will be really helpful. And then how do I envision contributing to that strategic planning process for IAACE? Well, I think just spreading awareness of all of those pillars. You're going to hear a lot about the pillars of IAACE. And it's really important because it helps us to focus on what we're good at. So, helping to spread awareness of all members of what those pillars are so that they know where to plug in, where their strengths are. And those pillars you're going to hear more later, but whether it's professional development or collaboration or advocacy or resource development, we all have different areas of passion. And so, spreading that awareness will help to carry out that strategic plan. And then we need to refine our focus to match passion and talent with areas of service. So, really looking strategically at who is good at what and where our needs are in IAACE so that we can plug them in and use them where their passion is and also get really great talent for carrying out that initiative. And then also serving on committees, because that's always a great way to really get a lot of fulfillment out of IAACE. It's a lot of work, but when you do it, you kind of feel more plugged in and you get lots of different perspectives from other people. So I think continuing to encourage people to serve on committees, and I love the way that we've kind of reduced down the committees, so you won't have to serve on a bunch of committees. You can just look at what you're good at and where you want to plug in, and I think that's a great way to grow that strategic plan. And then lastly, a really focused recruitment of those people who are passionate. So, really boosting that membership and spreading awareness about how people can plug in and help, as well as what some of the benefits of being a member are. And then, what do I see as the biggest challenge facing adult and continuing education in Indiana, and how IAACE can address those? I have just a few here that they were easy to think of because IAACE does a great job of helping with these. But of course, the first challenge would be funding. It's always going to be a challenge. We had such a win this year, but we can't let up. We always have to keep that in the forefront of our mind. Also serving more students because we still have so many more students that we can reach. And we're not going to have a lot more resources or a lot more people. So it's going to be with the same or even limited resources. How can we continue to serve more students with those limited resources? And then lastly, keeping adult educators motivated and encouraged. We love what we do. We're great with our students. But sometimes we really have these times of year where we get bogged down and we all feel kind of the pressure and the stress. So keeping adult educators motivated and encouraged will be really helpful. And IAAC is a great way to do that. So specifically, how IAACE can help is that by staying focused and carrying out that strategic plan with fidelity, because I think it's a great plan and I think it can really help. So, for example, with funding, collaboration, anybody on that committee can really help with making those partnerships, whether they're community partnerships or other partnerships that can help you to boost your funding because you are a community partner with say an employer who really values you. So that funding can really come as a result of that awareness. And again, continuing to stay aligned with DWD initiatives and having that involvement of DWD, it's a really key part so that we make sure that our programming is in alignment. And then advocacy is always going to be important. It was such a key role in helping us with our funding. So that's definitely something that we need to keep growing on that really strong foundation. So continuing that awareness. And then resource development is about finding funding streams and resources of ways that adult ed can have supplemental funding and different things like that. So lots of good initiatives that IAACE will do to help with funding. Um, Serving more students with the same or limited resources for our professional development is great because sharing ideas always helps that. Collaboration, and that's not just collaboration with your colleagues at your school, but even collaboration among programs. I've seen a lot of really great sharing among programs, and I think it's the key to helping us serve more students is by relying on each other and using those partnerships. So that's even community partnerships and our colleagues at other programs. So that's a two-pronged approach to collaboration I think is really important. And then again, resource development, because the more resources that we have for adult education, the easier it is to serve more students. And then lastly, keeping us motivated and encouraged would just be by our professional development. Again, a lot of it is centered around mental health and keeping yourself, taking care of yourself as you're taking care of your students. And then that collaboration, we're always energized when we collaborate and we share ideas. So that's going to be a really key focus in the next few years. And again, that goes back to strategic partnerships because we want to keep each other motivated, and nothing keeps us motivated but like feeling valued. And when we make community partnerships, they really understand the value of adult ed and the value of what adult educators do. And then again, resource development, because we're going to stay motivated when we have the resources we need. So you can sort of see how all of those pillars are going to work together and they're kind of intertwined to serve the same purpose. So I'm really excited about that. So that's quickly a couple of answers to my questions. And I'm excited to be here and would love the opportunity to serve.